In this model is you have the vertebrae here. Okay, so let's start with the vertebrae. Okay, anybody remember what this was called? The spinous process, but what is it? Bifid. So what vertebrae is this, folks? Aha. Come on, what? C? Yeah, you could say 2. We don't know if it's 2 or not. 2 to 5 or 3 to 5. Okay, bifid. All right. Here's your centrum or cell body. No, centrum. Or body, not cell body. Okay, centrum or body. Okay, sometimes my mouth. Okay, here's your transverse process. Okay, remember the cervical had that extra foramen called the transverse foramen. Yesterday we had, let me just see for a second. There was a little atlas, it sounds funny, but there was a little atlas flying around. And it helped you to see it again, okay. But, all right, I don't have it. But, okay, this is your big vertebral foramen. And this is those little extra side foramens, these transverse foramen. In fact, when we did transverse foramen, you had learned this blood vessel. Anybody remember? Vertebral artery. Yeah, here and here, okay? All right. You know, I want you to relate first, okay? Let's see, what else can we do? We don't have to do, you know, every little single structure. Well, basically we did. There's your transverse process. Okay. In terms of the vertebral foramen, okay, this is bone. So this here in gray is the periosteum. Then you have fat and blood vessels. Okay, I really wouldn't ask you this on the test, but you're outside of the dura mater. So a word that means outside or above the dura mater, epidural. Okay, and you might relate to that word on other levels, okay? This is your epidural space. Okay, this here is the dura mater. Now the way they have it cut here is you can kind of take this line and follow it around. Do you see what I'm saying? Okay, but stuck to the dura mater here, maybe come here. This is the dura mater, but see this one on the inside stuck to it? That's the arachnoid. Remember I said they're stuck together? Technically you can get in there, you know, like they're not really glued, but sometimes I joke they're like glued because they're so next to each other. So this is your dura mater, and then this one on the inside is the arachnoid. And again, you can follow it, you know, all the way around. Okay, then remember within the arachnoid there was that space. So here is the subarachnoid space that's filled with cerebrospinal fluid. Then here, this is your apple peel, your pia mater. Got it? And now we hit the cord. Here's your white matter. There's your gray butterfly. You know, there's your what? Ventral fissure. There's your, well, they don't show it as clear here, dorsal sulcus. Okay, so here's your, you know, ventral white columns, dorsal white columns, lateral. The butterfly, there's your ventral horns, dorsal horns. Here's your gray commissure. The little dot in the middle, what? The central canal. Okay, now let's do the neurons. Here's your, you know, well, you could do it either way, but here where it's peeled open is better. Here's your dorsal root ganglion going in this way, these two. This is what? Your ventral or motor. Then you wrap them together, but on this model you got to be careful. Exactly where exactly where the stick is where you're wrapping the dorsal root with the ventral root. So exactly where the stick is the spinal nerve Remember, the spinal nerve wraps the dorsal root with the ventral root. Everybody getting this? This is your dorsal root ganglion, and this very thin line over here is your, yeah, it's hard for me to point at it. Over here is your ventral root. So when they get wrapped together, this is the spinal nerve that's over here. But then this model goes out to the rami. Plural of ramus is rami, okay? So as you go out here, get the stick here. This is the spinal nerve. So then this is the dorsal ramus. This is the ventral ramus. And what's coming off the ventral? The communicating ramus, okay? And I don't want to get into what is really lecture, okay? But the ventral ramus is going to this, which runs on each side of the cord. And this is called your sympathetic cord, which is the autonomic nervous system. So the communicating ramus is going to the sympathetic cord of the autonomic nervous system.
So if there was a sticker on the bottom, it would be the sympathetic cord of the autonomic
Yes,
nervous.
this is the sympathetic cord.
Okay, and then the top piece, like
This is your communicating
Perfect.
ramus. It comes off the ventral. This is your ventral ramus. This is your communicating. Ventral communicating. See how I drew it? Well,
Yes.
I didn't draw the cord on the
no,
sympathetic
it's good.
cord,
It's good.
but you know,
Thank you.
the communicating comes off the ventral. Everybody got that? That's this model.